I might be a good woodcutter, but I am slightly persona non grata within public society, mostly because of the squatting and the smell.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the berserker.
I know, but I mean, I'm agreeing with you in saying that he doesn't really care if he squishes me, but if he kills you, you're quite a. You matter.
This is very much the age of the were-guild, though. So if the berserker has enough money to pay off the amount you're
Sinful
worth,
John.
yeah, he can get away with it. Jesus Christ, yeah, that is a good point. The money would go to Sinful John.
Boy, Sinful John.
You're probably worth quite a bit as well. So how many dots of wealth do you have?
I don't have much. I've got 3 ticks and resources.
Okay, so that actually is a fair amount. So
yeah, you're fairly wealthy for the area. So I am literally a squatter in the woods because I have no ticks and resources.
You'd probably, if he murdered you and he's got enough money to pay the blood money, I would say that Sinful John would probably go up to resources 4, which would make him one of the wealthier people in the area.
If I die, it's likely resources automatically go onto John's sheet.
I mean, arguably, yes. You did say that Sinful John is supposed to benefit. On the other hand, you do have to take into account old Cobb still running around.
I was about to say, you are travelling with old Cobb.
Sinful John will haunt you every step of your life.
Old Cobb is already being haunted every step of his life.
He really is.
Yes, but not by some creepy 10-year-old boy.
No, by an actual ghost. That's worse.
That's true. I don't know. The ghost can't hurt him.
So far,
I don't know.
You've seen it move bits and pieces.
Old Cobb will cry into his hundreds of stolen orphan blankets.
Every one of these blankets is an orphan? Oh, well, no, that's...
Was an orphan.
Was an orphan.
Oh, that's even worse. Stop skinning orphans.
Oh, you can't stop me. I've got this potato peeler.
Can't stop me off the orphan skinner now.
Yes.
Macabre.
I mean, I don't know if you'd be required to play the full were-guild if you despite the fact you're super wealthy, presumably because the Jarl goes, well, I kind of need my berserker, and if he can't pay up, I'm going to have to kill him.
Yeah. Plus, it depends what witnesses we've got. At the moment, there's not going to be any apart from his brutalized... brutalized partner, who might well testify in favour of his partner. Though they are gay, which means they're going to be quite looked down upon by Vikings.
And there'll be 2 corpses.
Sorry? Or one of them.
And there'll be 2 corpses.
Are they looked down upon by Vikings at this point? I didn't think it was a big thing.
If you are the bottom, you absolutely are. In fact, this is before the Catholic Church has gone real. At this point in time, I
want to say that's a pretty Roman.
That's actually a fairly common reoccurring type of homophobia, is where it's okay to be the penetrative party, but it's not okay to be the penetrated party. But performative gender politics in Scandinavian history... Sorry, I've done so much fucking research on this that I can actually finally talk about. Performative gender politics in Scandinavian cultures at the time are interesting, and the dark inversion of shield maidens existing is it's totally possible for you to lose your masculine honor, and therefore you are now treated as a woman for all purposes. And one of the ways that you can do that is being the recipient in gay sex.
Although I suppose if you were a tax collector and already hated, I don't suppose you care.
Exactly. And I suppose as well they'd have to figure out who is who. So it might be a don't ask, don't tell situation.
Well, especially if one of the participants is a 7 foot tall
exactly.
crazy ass berserker.
Everyone knows, but who wants to go to the berserker and ask?
Also, we may not have witnesses, but the priest may still testify on our behalf as well, because we were there last night.
He may well, actually.
Well, he may well testify that we went to the house with a thing. He may not but if the other person testifies, well, I was beaten to the ground by a vagrant smelling faintly of badger urine. And I say faintly
that won't
of
be
badger
me,
urine.
then. I'll be in the clear.
You were with me.
In this scenario, both of you were dead, remember? And they are on trial not because you are giving counter evidence. They are on trial because your bodies are extremely difficult to hide when you're splattered across the middle of the street.
True that.
In this scenario, old Cobb is the only one who's alive. And the best case scenario, were you both to die, is that Sinful John gets a full weregild. The worst scenario is that you're found to be the guilty party, and maybe Sinful John actually has to pay some cash money. Arguably, they might try to take it out of the Badger Warren, but Whisperwood is dangerous, and no one has any idea that the Badger Warren is actually anywhere near as luxurious as it is. So,
well, to be fair, the Sun character does actually have some ticks in resources.
Yeah, but they don't
Because
know
he
that,
doesn't-
I don't think.
Well, no, he doesn't. No, because remember, he doesn't live in the Badger Warren.
Oh, the son, yeah, that's true. The son rather than the grandson.
The grandson
Yeah, so they
lives
might-
in the
they
Badger
might go
Warren. The
after-
son doesn't. The son is the finest purveyor of bows in the whole peninsula.
Exactly. So they might go after the son and the. I've been reading into the history of longbows recently, and it turns out they're a lot later period invention than we'd hoped. So the longbow is anachronistic, but we started with it, so we're going to keep going with it.
Well, to be fair, it doesn't have to be a longbow. It can just be a massive ass bow.
Could be a longer bow.
It's not a longbow. It's just big.
Could be recurve.
No, recurves are
Yeah, I don't think
a
they're
separate thing.
accidentally happen upon a recurve. But anyway, we should have some reminders from last session, and then we'll decide who we want to go with. So, Bert is unconscious and has lost teeth. Granddaddy Idris needs... sorry, this is an exact quote. Needs to teach whippersnappers about real combat. Kind local woman gave old Cobb some money, and the party has met Niall the Noxious.
I like how Idris needs to teach the Berserker about combat. The Berserker who's been on tour potentially multiples of times.
To be fair, that he has, but equally, he's currently flailing around and failing to kill a fairly old man dressed in rags with a stick.
Ah, well, let's see what the dice say about that.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't say very good things about it last time for him. He may not have taken much damage, but he was also failing to hit me. If this was a highly witnessed fight, people would be laughing at him.
Guess when the compound bow was invented?
Compound bow, probably I'm going to say about 400 BC.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be old.
1966.
What?
Define compound bow.
As in the... You might be thinking of the recurve bow. But yes, compound bow.
Definitionally, what is a compound bow?
You know what? Let's not get into this, because this will be us reading bow history for 20 minutes. Which is fun, but not what we're here for.
Sorry, didn't mean to get us off track.
No, it's...
Right, the lever thing.
Yes, the lever thing bow.
So, who do we want to go with first? I don't think we can really do much with Bert. He's going to be unconscious for a couple of minutes, which is not good for you. So it's either we start off with Granddaddy Idris and see what happens there, or we see how old Cobb's trek down to the seaside is going.
I mean, I could happily go down to the seaside.
He does like to be beside the seaside. He does like to be beside the sea.
And so old Cobb whistles a delightful tune to himself as... I think it was at the crack of dawn. Yeah, so we're slightly after the crack of dawn at this point, maybe 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And old Cobb is whistling a merry tune as he winds his way on down to the beach. What is your game plan here, old Cobb? You are still, if you will recall, covered in a sort of thick, caked layer of cow feces.
I mean, I would probably like to strip off, leave my clothes in a neat pile by the shore, and get in the water.
Your manure-caked clothes.
Yeah, my
You have to
manure-caked...
Fold them neatly.
That's very true, actually. I should probably wade in just with everything on me already.
Go for a
You're
swim
welcome.
in the bracing waters of the Severn Sea in late April.
It's fine, it's fine.
It's
Builds
balmy
character.
for this time of year.
All right,
Yeah.
Bert, let's see how you do it. Oh wait, no, Bert's a different character. As is Idris. Jesus fucking Christ. Old Cobb. I will take Stamina Athletics, difficulty 6.
Oof. He's got none of that.
He's not much of a runner. Not of anything save his mouth.
3 successes.
3 successes. Yeah, you have a brisk, pleasing dip in the sea. You're in there for maybe half an hour, in which time you manage to wash off the vast majority of the cow dung without getting swept out to sea or succumbing to pneumonia. It is chilly as all hell when you emerge out, and you're going to need to get some dry clothes from somewhere or risk potentially fatal cold. What's your game plan here, old Cobb? What are you planning to do at this point?
I've taken some coin from... Oh yeah, I've got my 2 silver coin from the that local woman. So now that I'm kind of at least reasonably presentable, I'd like
drenched,
to try and...
drenched as opposed to being like slathered in poo.
I'm drenched, so I'd like to, have a wander about town, maybe get myself some new threads.
So, with a song in his heart and a whistle on his freshly cleaned lips, old Cobb heads back to St. Asaph. You know what, I was going to do a U section, but as you were swimming for half an hour, we should probably see if the other 2 are dead and, spread evenly across the street at this point or not.
Ah, a lot of smears around here.
Live to win.
Okay. Fuck, I should probably open the rules, shouldn't I? That would help.
Fine. They won't be needing them.
Ben, you ready to be jammed?
Jesus. This is now a Wraith campaign. We're going to swap over old Cobb. We're going to swap over Bert and Granddaddy Idris. And Callum can play Land for Feckin.
Face.
Sorry, the first half of your thing got cut off there.
Oh, is it with my smashed face?
Yeah, exactly. Land for Feckin with her for Feckin face. Storytelling. Here we go. Cool. Who goes first out of you and the Berserker, Benji? I don't really remember. Should we just roll for it?
Sure. 1d10?
Nah, just give me your... I guess... Yeah, no, fuck it. Let's do a d10. 3, 2, 1, go!
See what I mean, Whitey? This is about how this is kind of embarrassing for the giant frickin' berserker.
I don't know, you do, skitter about with beetly agility.
Yeah, but I'm an old smelly tramp, is the thing.
You are, but you're also, clearly a witchy-looking wise man situation. Okay, well, you win the toss-off, so you go first.
Okay. I am going to whack him with me stick. As I have been doing the rest of the time.
Okay, diff 6, and because we were allowing them last session, I guess we'll keep allowing... Nah, fuck it, we want this to end. Let's not allow botches this week. I don't know why we did it last week, honestly.
So... 10. I'm going to spend one of my remaining
wizard powers.
No, willpower, that's the one. I only have wizard power to charming animals. Ah, okay.
Jesus.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's a lot.
5 successes. Unfortunately, I don't get the exploding 10s, because if I did... Eat stick, you bastard!
It's not exploding, they count for 2, goddammit.
That's literally...
That's not what exploding means. Exploding means you roll them again.
No, that depends on the system.
It's 100% not discrete. Okay,
no,
rolling to dodge.
It depends on the system.
Okay, so that's negate the 3 successes, so you're down to net 3. And I believe it was strength plus 1 is the bashing damage from your staff, right?
Yes.
Cool. So what's your strength plus 1?
4.
Cool. So 4 plus 3, 7. Reduced down by his stamina. You land a hefty wallop on the berserker's chest, and he roars in pain, even as a mighty blue welt begins forming almost immediately. And then the counter swing. Also, let me just double check that I'm actually using his stats here. I think these are his stats. I'm a bit confused looking back. Fuck it. That's 2 successes.
I will spend the willpower and try to dodge.
Botch.
Is that? Do I roll melee on that as well?
No, it's Dex Athletics, Stiff 6.
Okay. Thank God I spent that. Thank God I spent that freaking willpower.
Well,
Jesus.
remember, I did say that we're not counting botches for combat. We shouldn't have last week, but we did.
No, I know. But if I only got one pass, anyway, without the thingy, I only got one pass, which means I would have taken damage, which means he would have got a solid hit in.
True. So that is net 0 successes on the nose. You'll go.
Okay. I'm gonna be hitting him with my stick again.
That's fair. Ain't no psychic powers, you don't need to declare your psi rating. Cool, so that's net 3 successes, and rolling to dodge.
I wish to blast him with my psychic powers.
That is negated. With net 3 successes versus net 3 successes. Rolling to punch. 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to spend my last willpower now. Yes! God, I'm still in the fight.
A net of 3 successes, you jammy bastard. Alright, you'll go.
Okay, whack with the stick. It's so much easier if I could have an axe. Okay, 3 successes.
Rolling to dodge. 1 success negated, so what is that? 2 plus 4? You get in another solid hit to the shoulder. You tear away a great gobbet of skin as... why did I hit Control S? Damn you, compulsions! Yeah, you tear away a great gobbet of skin as your wacky stick becomes matted in his fur, and the sheer friction rips at his body. He roars, seeming to just not notice the pain, and lashes out for your skull. That is net 4 successes.
That is 1, 2... Is it 6 or 7?
6.
Okay, 1, 2...
You jammy fucker, that's another 4.
Oh, yeah, we're not doing botches.
Yeah, it's combat. You don't count botch malices. You negated 4 successes with 4 successes.
Stick time. 1, 2... Only 2 this time.
2 successes. Rolling to dodge. 2 successes as the two of you duck and weave around each other. Wood, mud, and nearby bits of building flying as the berserker rips and hurls things at you. But Granddaddy Idris is few things in life, and one of those few things is a fucking beetle as he skitters left, right, up and down, defying gravity. Oh, or jumping, I guess, also works.
I'm really glad I picked Survivor as my demeanor.
You are playing your demeanor, I'll give you that. Right, rolling to hit. That is 1, 2, 3 successes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Christ.
What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with me? This is a gigantic berserker, a fearsome Norse warrior who is the terror of every single civilized society on both the North and the Mediterranean seas at this point in time, and he's currently trying and failing to kill an old man who lives in a hole in the woods.
Especially, you've lasted, what, I think 4 or 5 rounds now? Whitey, who is a
I
seasoned
didn't hear
warrior.
no bell.
Whitey, who is a seasoned warrior, lasted 2. And fucking Bert is not a slouch. Yeah, you can't knock the beetle-man. Fuck my life.
Really can't.
Okay, go. The berserker grabs a nearby chicken that panically wanders past and hurls it
With some
into
wood.
your face.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 successes.
Rolling to fucking dodge.
Why can't you Why won't you fuckers just die?
Why won't you die?
I don't need you to die. I'm just trying to knock him out.
Net 3 successes. That's
5 damage.
5 damage, cool.
Reduced by stamina.
Reduced by stamina, unfortunately. Which means you get him square in the face, his nose explodes in a spray of blood and cartilage, and he doesn't so much as blink.
They feed you.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
Fuck, nuggets.
Fail the dodge. Fail the dodge. Fail the dodge.
Oh.
One.
One, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. So what? Let me just double check this then. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. Plus another 5 is 9. If you'd like to take 9 levels of bashing.
Okay, well, I've got 3 stamina, so that's only 6 levels of bashing.
You are 1 level above unconsciousness.
Still in the fight.
You are still
I
in the
didn't
fight.
hear no bell.
as you take a single glancing hit to the side of your mouth, and every single one of your old men teeth go flying out, several of them shattered into tiny pieces. The
In
fragments
slow motion,
picking up for
his skin pulls back and he becomes a young man again.
Oh dear.
Are people not trying to come out and investigate what's going on at this point?
Would you?
Well, I would if I was a guard and thus paid to do that sort of thing.
There are guards.
There are not.
No guard.
Yeah.
And
And it's not time of war, so why would anyone pay for guards?
At best as a local neighborhood watch alliance.
I mean, basically.
Now, admittedly, the neighborhood watch alliance in Hot Fuzz is very deadly. However,
That's completely unrealistic. That's Gloucestershire. This is South Wales. They're miles
true,
apart.
that's true. Everyone in their
Right,
mum is
okay.
attacking around there.
Let's try hitting him back.
All right. You don't get pool mods until lethal, I don't think.
1, 2. Come on.
Oh, sorry, 2.
Then
Right, brain.
five.
Yes. Cool. Rolling to dodge. 2 successes. Rolling to hit. 1, 2, 3 successes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't hear
fuck
no
is this
fucking
fight?
bell.
Fucking
Jesus
Mr. Miyagi
Christ.
fights Zangief.
Really is.
I mean,
Again fights Zangief.
I'm going to give you the option here, Idris, as it's pretty clear that you have complete control of the agility around this fight. It's only the fact that you keep going in that keeps putting you at risk. Do you want to stay here, or do you want to try and Scarper?
Well, I said I wasn't going to abandon Bert.
That's fair.
Need logs for the sty.
Exactly. He's a valuable customer.
Go on, Daddy needs a new fence.
All right.
Unconscious Bert lying on the ground going, oh, Daddy needs a new fence.
God, how many
Right.
rounds have we been through? Has this been like 5, 6 rounds now?
Yeah, something like that.
Let me have a speedy
Okay,
check.
I want to try whacking with my stick.
Let me just have a speedy check, because I think Whitey might actually be waking up soon. Because you only stay unconscious for a couple of minutes, right? And
Okay, how long is this round?
A round, I usually do a round as 10 seconds, so that's why I'm
Okay.
asking. Because at this point,
I think we're on about 6.
Yeah,
like
I'll
it's
just
about halfway
check.
through,
So it's
maybe.
1, 2,
Remember, we also had several rounds of combat last time.
2. So 1.
It's true, Ben did start the dance macabre.
Go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're on 6.5, and say we had 2 rounds of combat last time. No, it was only 1 because Benji had only just got in. So 7.5. Whitey, you will wake up in 3.5 rounds.
Alright,
Okay.
see how this plays out. I wake up, Idris is
Wacky
dead.
stick.
You are
1,
now dead.
2, 3. 3 hits. 3 successes, rather. Come on.
Wake up.
Oh, you
See the
big-
fist flying towards your face.
I don't think I need to hit him that much, to be honest. I only need to squeak a little bit of damage past.
I'm going to be... So you are doing amazingly well, but I am going to remind you that extra bruised health levels are a thing. So, rolling to dodge. 1.
Imagine if he'd taken 9 lives. We would have been doing this forever.
I don't need to kill him, I just need to beat him unconscious, or at least
6
beat him to the point where he calms down. I'm not
2.
going for lethal.
3 successes. So that negates your 3, I'm afraid. And he's
Christ.
rolling. Only one success.
1, 2, 3,
Oh.
4.
Granddaddy Idris dances back.
Pocket sand.
Okay, roll your
Pocket sawdust.
God, it is just Gen. You are.
Alright, I'm going to keep a count of the rounds for Whitey, or well, the half rounds for Whitey.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Only 3.
3, cool. Rolling to dodge. 1, 2.
2. 5 damage again.
Yeah, again, you get like a thorough whack in, and it doesn't so much as faze him. Blood is streaming from his face and numerous minor cuts. He's covered in bruises. Doesn't seem to give more than 2 shits.
How's damage calculated?
Do I have to?
Damage is calculated as your net successes on the attack roll, plus your strength, plus the weapon's damage modifier, minus soak. There's some complexities in terms of damage types, but for this particular fight where it's just like bare fists against wacky stick, that's how it's going.
See, he's he's almost supernaturally angry. Can I use my unclean floor in any offensive way against him to try and distract him? Because he's still got a spell.
Stink so massively of badger piss, but he's so far beyond giving a shit about badger piss stink right now. You detonated his nose like 20, 30 seconds ago, oh yeah, you detonated his nose like 20, 30 seconds ago. He's not smelling shit right now.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Alright, okay, let's try, Oh yeah, you've got to roll to hit.
Yeah, I think it's...
Oh no, he took 5 damage. Yeah, okay, so... Well, reduced by stamina. How much stamina is this guy? He's got 4, isn't he? Bastard.
He's got more than 4 stamina.
That would literally make him one of the most resilient people in the world.
Yes. Why I'm kind of defending you when the other's saying, how shittily are you doing at this fight? And you're fighting this god-tier ginger bear of a man, basically Tormund, and doing actually pretty well. Cool, that is 3 successes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Fuck my life.
Just go. Don't give characters 5 stamina next time.
I don't know, it's better than if he just rolled over, right?
No! He might be supernaturally angry, but a good hard stick upside the head.
Can we have old Cobb just creeping by in the background, soggy wet?
No,
Because it's clearly been half an hour by this point.
No, it's only
Right.
it's only been a few minutes.
Okay, going for the wacky stick. It's 1, 2, only 2.
Oh, it hits. That's 4.
God damn it.
I'm
really rooting for the Viking.
Why?
Inheritance.
Yeah, Callum's character's just a dickhead. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, I inherited all these badgers.
rolling to hit. How are you going to make use of it? You can't get into the warren without being eviscerated.
Okay. Rolling to dodge.
Fragments.
That is 1 dodge. Oh, I'm gonna fucking die.
There's net 3 successes to hit. Net 3 successes on the hit, and net 1 on the dodge for 2 plus 4. Not 2 plus 4? 2 plus 5. 2 plus 5.
I could have, and I should have burnt a point of willpower at some point along there.
I don't think you can burn willpower. I think you're thinking
Should be able to.
I think you're thinking of fate. Or luck.
You can burn willpower for stuff, can't you?
I don't believe so. I think you're getting it confused with Dark Heresy and Dark Heresy Descendant Systems. Like, there are some things that do require you to burn willpower, but you can't just burn willpower voluntarily. Permanent. Yeah, if you'd like to take, I think that's 6 levels of bashing damage.
Reduced by 3, so 3 damage, which puts me to incapacitated, which kills us both. Like, can I just say, him having 5 stamina is freaking bullshit. Like, come on.
Now-
that is so ridiculously tanky.
That was, and that was in every way advertised. I have described him consistently as a brick shithouse, a bear of a man, a ginger giant, given you multiple chances to check out of this fight. Like, you stayed for this. The good news, however, is we were at 6 out of 7 rounds.
I think the problem here is that Ewan is sick and tired of us killing his plot hooks very, very quickly.
You've not even gone near my plot hooks, is the thing. Like, my plot hooks, I keep trying to push you towards my plot hooks, and that's just not happened. Anywho, the good news is, I would say this is still a moral victory. Because he's going to kill you now, and that's going to take him longer to do than 10 seconds, because he's really going to smash up your corpse. Which means
His fists might get tired.
Bert will come to... You know what, Benji? If you would you like to choose how you die, and what Bert wakes up to see?
It doesn't really matter.
You can give yourself an outro, though.
Oh no, it really doesn't. You gave me a character I literally couldn't hurt.
I mean, one, you could hurt him, and you did. You were actually almost winning that fight.
Well, no, at 5 stamina.
2,
I can't hurt him because of all of the rolls. Have I actually done any damage to him?
Yeah, you've done quite a bit.
How much? How much damage have I done to him?
You did 6 by my count. You did quite a bit of damage.
He hit me fucking twice to my hitting him about
Twice,
6
mate.
times.
You
You
went
only need
into
to-
what was clearly advertised as someone you were not supposed to fight, with nothing but a wacky stick and badger-soaked clothing. Badger-soaked? Badger-piss-soaked clothing. I laud your bravery, but that was in no way my fault for giving you an unfair fight that you couldn't flee from, because you could flee from it. It was an unfair fight, but you weren't supposed to fight the guy.
Most fucking vampires don't have that much soak.
It's true.
Yeah, you could have tapped out at any moment.
We described him as ripping the head off of a donkey last session. At
You
what
also did
point-
Being
it
super
almost-
strong and
yeah.
being super tanky are not the same thing.
He's a berserker. They famously fight naked. So, Bert, you come to at just a groggily, vision swimming, just about in time to see Granddaddy Idris dodging, ducking, and weaving in front of you, clearly having taken on the berserker in a last-ditch attempt to save your life. Your vision's swimming just a little bit too much, and you barely even see the blow that lands. But something catches Granddaddy Idris at the wrong angle, and his smooth jitterbugging back and forth goes from the nimble darting of a skittering beetle to an awkward, broken-necked topple, his head falling at entirely an unnatural angle. Now, doubtless the Berserker's going to take a little while to brutalize the corpse, but you've got scant seconds, effectively, to effect your escape.
Stab him in the neck.
I haven't got anything to stab him with, Ben.
I was going to say, if you had a dagger, actually, I suppose you could immediately avenge Granddaddy Idris.
You could take one of Granddaddy Idris's broken shin bones or something. Stab him with that.
What, from underneath the berserker?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say that it was a good idea.
No, I'm gonna go full Jeremy Clarkson and go, oh no! Anyway, and start crawling on my belly towards any sort of cover that would obscure me. I'm guessing I'm not getting up fast from that groggy, so I'm just gonna crawl for it.
Alright.
Well, I've seen a man's body flop like that before. No way, like, there's no saving him now.
He's getting donkeyed. I will take Strength Athletics, difficulty 8, please, Bert. To crawl yourself on your belly like a bird away from there. So close.
At least 3.
That is... I said diff 8, I think.
Oh, did you? Okay, well, still 1.
It's one success. You haul yourself out of there, arm over arm, as fast as you can, in the only direction you can go. Now, you landed... Oh, no, you didn't land in an alley. That was Bert. So you landed in the street, just pushed further back, which means you're hauling yourself into an alley and then along a little ways, as far as you can get. The sounds of Idris being eviscerated behind you are utterly gruesome. But damned if he didn't die a hero. Well, I suppose he did also start the fight, but he certainly came back for you. After some time, the screams die down, and then you can hear the yelling begin as people finally venture outside of their houses and start making something of a move on the enraged berserker who's very clearly just murdered a man. Your head has recovered somewhat by this stage. What is your game plan here? What do you want to do?
I think I'm going to have to head to the church. Firstly, to find Suka. Secondly, I've another plan of brewing, and it doesn't involve getting Cobb sorted out. Cobb be damned. I'm going to the priest. I'm going to ask for an exorcism. Now you
go to the priest to ask for an exorcism.
Yeah, I thought of it after the last session. I was like, oh shit, I could have done that. Like, my character was fully on that line of thinking, and then decided, let's do the Cobb thing.
Sorry, do you have any idea?
Never do the Cobb thing.
How many fucking characters I put in who could have given you an exorcism? It's so many. And it's always like, No, I'm calm. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, fuck old Cobb. Old Cobb can be haunted as much as he likes. I, as a religious man, am going to go to the church, get aid, and then also get an exorcism.
That is fair.
Cobb left us to die, so I'm going to leave him to be haunted by Idris's soul and Lanfafekin.
I certainly wasn't going to get up. They wanted to kill me more than anyone.
That's quite true. I will say, Benji, you may transfer all of Idris's backgrounds to, I guess, either his son or his grandson at your leisure.
We're coming in as grandson Idris with a new goal of the campaign.
Revenge?
Oh, that fucker's gonna burn.
I don't think this is going to go well. I think you need to spin up more characters.
PvP just started. Hold on, let me just find.
Well, I'm not going to kill old Cobb. There's a berserker that needs to burn.
Oh God!
Yeah,
fucking blood feud.
That's what I mean. He needs to spin up more characters because I don't think that berserker's going down well.
Oh no, I'm not going to fight him this time. I'm going to barricade his house in the dead of night, and then I'm going to burn it the fuck down. And when he runs out, I'm going to stab him again and again and again.
If he was screaming and beating on Idris's corpse for a fair few minutes, at that point, he's going to be plastered in blood. Yep. Baths be damned, he's going to be plastered in blood. There's going to be a corpse on his lawn.
Yep.
People are going to see it, and he is going to get charged, and it's highly unlikely that he actually has... I mean, as the tax collector's boyfriend, so potentially have some money, but I don't think he'll have enough to buy his way out of this one necessarily.
Yeah, he will have thoroughly smashed Granddaddy Idris's corpse to the point that it is not going to be obvious he's simply murdered a local vagrant that no one liked anyway. And obviously that is the first and most obvious thing that you would say if you were caught in this exact situation of, no, don't worry, it's that badger urine guy who no one ever sees. I've totally killed him. I know he lives miles away, but,
But why would the guy who lives miles away suddenly come here to the tax collector's house? It must be some other vagrant. Yeah.
So, yeah, he's almost certainly going to get a lot more charged for your murder than if he'd just murdered you. Remember, kids, don't desecrate corpses. Just kill them. Do you want to come in? Do you want to come in this session, Benji? Because I
realize that, but it's the principle of the thing. You broke up completely there.
Oh, sorry, did I?
Yeah.
Well, that's embarrassing. Where did I cut out?
I have no idea.
Do you want to come in this session?
Oh, fair.
So
yeah, I doesn't sound like I broke up. Then I think it might have been you, Benji.
No, it was the second half of the sentence we missed.
There wasn't a second half of the sentence. I was asking him, does he want to come in this session or not? And then I heard Benji speak.
Yeah, it cut off the or not.
Yeah, it sounded like you were mid-sentence then.
Yeah, no, I just stopped speaking. What I was going to ask was because I'm totally happy for you to come in this session. I think it is not a stretch to have, do you want to come in as your son or your grandson?
I'm going to come in as my grandson.
Fair.
And I've even got a reason why I would be in St. Asaph, because obviously he's got his magical thing is childbirth and sexual health, so he could even be there helping deliver babies.
Well, he just happens to be in town. He didn't tell his granddad. I mean, that's fair.
Doesn't have to tell his grand. Well,
I mean, he wasn't
wouldn't.
in the Warren.
He
so-
wouldn't. He's a mute.
Of course. I forgot about this. Fucking hell.
I suppose
That's pretty good.
This before sign language was invented, and neither of you could read or write.
Sign language.
Basic
revenge.
communication is going to be all you can muster. So yeah, fair.
Sign language is not coming in for hundreds of years.
Okay, so the sign language for Rwenge is so like this. That's retaliation, retribution, revenge, and get back at.
Right. Revenge. I thought you were meaning Rwenge as a language, and I was trying to work out what the hell that would be.
It's a reference to Peep Show.
It's been forever since I've seen Peep Show, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Rwenge is one of those defining moments.
I should rewatch that show.
To be fair, actually, it took me a minute to tweet to that.
Okay.
I've seen Peep Show within the last year.
Bert, you're crawling along an alleyway as you hear the shouts and not quite screams, thankfully, indicating no more berserk rampage, but the shouts and cries go up from the street of murder, most foul, etc. When as you walk along a back alley, you find out for an early morning stroll, or not stroll, but out in the early morning, in town on business, unbeknownst to his grandfather. Yes, Cat. And presumably coming to check out what all the noise is about, Granddaddy Idris's son. Granddaddy Idris's grandson, who was Idris ap Elber ap Idris, badger wrangler, apprentice badger wrangler. The two of you eye each other surprisedly. What do?
I would like to point questioningly at him and then do a sort of sideways head turn.
Whitey?
Sorry, what? I was watching Rwenge. I was watching the Jez clip where he just hides meat in Mark's bed.
You were wandering up the street and then
Sorry.
unexpectedly ran into Idris's grandson, who seems to be in town for nebulous reasons. And
Pure coincidence. How fast can I write a will?
and Idris's grandson has just motioned to you a sort of questioning tone, as it's clear that he, like many others, was going to investigate what the shouts and screams are about.
You can write it all you want, Callum, but everyone knows Granddaddy Idris couldn't write.
I can have someone write it on his behalf. I mean,
Do you really think any reputable person is going to let that weirdo into their goddamn place to write a will?
I mean, so we can
Okay, so dealing with Idris ap Elber ap Idris. Oh god, I forgot it's a whole fucking sequence.
Idris too.
Just
Idris Junior. Junior?
Just call him Junior.
Yeah, Junior. Interpreting his
Right, I gotta
dance of hands.
be right back. Couple of seconds. Just got a puppy to deal with.
Alright, I'll wait for Ben to get back then.
So, old Cobb, you're sauntering back up into town. Seems to be a bit of a hubbub, but you don't hear, like, screams and cries, and there's no one rushing or looking for you. What do?
It's been nice to be out of earshot.
Well, I'm heading over towards the clothes shop, or whatever the nearest equivalent is.
You know there's a market in St. Asaph, and figure that's as good a place as any. It's a little bit barren this time of the morning, but I suppose that might actually suit your purposes.
Exactly.
There are a few people laying out stalls, but there seems to be actually even less than you would have thought. I suppose it's getting on towards like just early morning at this point. What do?
Just gonna head towards where our nearest looking, cloth seller or clothier, tailor. If we've got any market stalls that selling clothes, I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair. You've probably not bought clothes in quite a while. It seems like a bit of an unnecessary extravagance when you can inherit clothes.
Oh, exactly.
You find someone who's selling mostly other things, nicks and knacks, but you can see they've got some what appear to be tunics and such, hung up. They eye you as you approach. Here, you look like you've been down swimming in the sea.
Well, yeah, that I have actually. I've been out for a little dip this morning.
Fully clothed?
Well, you know, it's a bit chilly out there. It's not really one for going dipping in the sea, but you know, I had to go out for my yearly bath, and why not? I was out in town, thought might as well.
She looks you up and down. Her eyes narrow. Here, you're a bit old to be a pirate, aren't you?
Pirate? What makes you think that?
Folds her arms at you. Not menacingly, but firmly. Well, you come up to me with a very obviously cock and balls story. You're wearing soaking wet clothing, and I assume you're here to buy dry clothing.
Well, alright, yeah, I'll level with you, lass. I might have not been telling the truth exactly just there.
Alright, well, no skin off my nose. She grabs a tunic that looks somewhat large for you, and a pair of hose. What have you got to pay?
Here, how much can I get for 1 silver coin?
Oh, you were given a small bag of silver, weren't you?
No, he was given 2 silver coins.
Two silver coins.
It's quite... It's not a small amount of money, to be fair, but he was in dire straits and looked it. Her eyes light up. You can have both of them for a silver coin.
Well, can I? Right, well...
she slides them across the counter and holds her hand out for the coin.
I look at the coin, look at her, look at the coin, look at her, look forlornly at the coin. Slowly give out the coin.
Try to snap coin in half.
Try to snap.
I was kind of expecting you to snatch and run with the clothes, honestly.
I don't think old Cobb is one for snatching and running. He's far more subtle than that.
Sorry, read Callum's response as, damn, I wish I'd thought of that.
The gears are turning in his head.
She accepts the coin greedily and shoos the obvious pirate away from her stall. Have you got Benji back?
No, I don't think so just yet.
Cool, what else do you want to do in town? Things seem, for lack of a better word, somewhat calm. You can't really hear any yells or anything.
I don't think there's a whole lot else for old Cobb to do. I think he could engage himself in some grifting if he needs to reclaim the coin that he got. But
it is worth pointing that at least 2 people here, as far as you know, think that you're dead. But arguably 4 of your party is still alive.
Yeah.
Which you probably don't want them to see you around and about town when they've already tried
probably
to
not. It might be worth me finding a secluded part of town and getting changed.
A secluded part of all of 10 huts and a church.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a sizable...
I can get around the back of the church.
Around the back of the church... Oh, damn, it's a shame the timing hasn't worked out. Well, actually, you know what? Let's skip back to the other 2, and if they've really faffed around, they might still be out the back of the church. Meanwhile, 20 minutes in the past...
20 minutes in the past, Ben is doing his confusing hand signals at me, basically asking, what's going on? Idris, I have some very bad news for you. Would you mind accompanying me on the way to the church, and I'll explain along the way? Because I'm not sure there's necessarily an easier way to do it, but doing it under the eyes of God is probably the better. Oh gosh, Ben's mute, so I could just kind of rattle on.
He's just gonna nod. He's gonna nod slightly.
I wipe the blood from my mouth with one arm, and put the other hand on his shoulder and lead him in the direction of the church, where the way I'm plodding. Said, the Riddick, the tax collector. Me and your grandpappy came up here with that bastard old Cobb, and old Cobb instigated a fight. Unfortunately, I don't know how familiar you were with the residents of the tax collector's house, but his guy friend, as best as I could tell, he almost beat me to death, but he certainly beat Idris to death. That was poor delivery but I'm rattled. I'll play it off because I'm really rattled right now.
You have only just recovered from unconsciousness, to be fair.
There's a fair shout that I could have a little bit of
you
concussion.
are almost certainly quite heavily concussed.
So, I'm not necessarily even walking a perfectly straight line right now. The arm on his shoulder is as much for comfort as to steady my own pace.
There's going to be a narrowing of the eyes.
I kind of wave my hand around and go, I'm sorry, there was probably a better way of me delivering that news. And I don't know if you follow your grandpappy's pagan beliefs, but I'm on my way to, firstly, elite the priesthood if the rest of the village doesn't get there first. As well as to, help Idris's and my own soul to avail us of a ghost that old Cobb unfortunately set upon us.
You're really throwing old Cobb under the bus here, aren't you?
I mean, I'm not,
And then from around the corner, well, hello there!
What, in 20 minutes? In 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Yeah. I'm not saying that old Cobb was not justified in running away. If anything, it was the very smart move after being hurled like a sack of old grain. However, my character is very much blaming the current situation upon old Cobb. Old Cobb did not do the murder, but he instigated the fight through stupidity.
It's true.
And as a result, almost got me killed and certainly got Idris killed. All Idris Younger has done so far is narrow his eyes and is slowly walking alongside me to the best I can tell.
That is all he's done so far, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to be internally mulling this information over.
It's a lot to lay on a man at, 7 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
in April.
Shitty month for shitty times, and Granddaddy's being murdered. So,
There'll be a reckoning, don't worry.
he seemed to say.
With his eyes. And his soul. And his passionate hand gestures.
So, the walk to the church is fairly brief, and you find inside Niall the Noxious. Niall?
Niall, I think we settled on.
Did we? Alright, fair. Niall the Noxious. Because I know someone called Niall, so that feels weird for me. So I'm going to divert away, I'm afraid. Niall the Noxious is setting up for some kind of religious ceremony. Maybe, I suppose, probably not a small mass, but he's setting up for something in there. He turns to greet the two of you as you enter the house of God, only for his eyes to go utterly wide as he sees the state that Bert is in.
I'm just going to say this. Well, Granddaddy Idris might have just been a crazy man who lived in the woods. Like, grandson Idris is, like, full-on druid with the stick and everything, so he's probably not too pleased about him being in there either.
I think you'll find grandsonny Idris.
Yeah, the grandsonny Idris, yeah, is full-on with the stick and everything, so...
God, he's even more of the old ways. Youth's not advancing. This is a problem with conservative upbringings.
They're regressing.
Exactly, it's the rebellion.
I'm not going to lie, I don't see how that's that different from Granddaddy Idris.
Well, he doesn't smell of badger piss, it's mostly in the presentation.
So he's the same, but younger and doesn't smell of badger piss, because you also wore, like, tattered robes and carried a stick.
No, he wears nice robes and carries a better quality of stick.
He just still crawls.
One of them is a tramp who lives in the woods, and one of them has pretensions of being a druidic holy man.
Let's take a look. I mean, I'm still seeing appearance 1, so you can't have that nicer robes and better stick.
He can be ugly and still well dressed.
I suppose that's fair.
Like, he still lives in a badger set. He's just not constantly covered in badger urine.
He rinses off the badger.
He occasionally washes.
Oh, he's taken after those fucking Vikings. But to be fair, badger piss is pretty pungent, so I'll let him off.
So, here's how we're going to unify the party real quick. Bert begins telling his story to Njal. Unfortunately, Bert is heavily concussed, and this takes quite a while at often quite a loud level of volume. So by the time that old Cobb starts wandering past 20 minutes from now, Bert has only just got the salient details out, even as his concussion begins to slowly clear. Meaning that old Cobb, you have now heard that at the very least Bert is still alive and currently inside the church as you meander past it. What do?
I would like to. I'd like to try and get changed first before I go and round the corner to see them.
You can consider yourself to have found an alley to get changed in real quickly.
Ah, excellent. And I have my fresh threads.
I'm partially wondering how this doesn't end in PvP.
Gonna take one giant rolling step around the corner.
Well, they're inside the church, or the chapel, I suppose. So
Sorry, around the door then?
Yeah, long step through the door.
Yeah. What? One long step through the door with his long, skinny legs.
Njal the Noxious looks up, eyes wide. I think we said we weren't going to do the Alfred voice because it's hell on the recording.
Fair enough, yeah.
So what voice do we give the Scandies instead?
Really stereotypical Scandinavian accent.
I can't do that voice.
You could do the high-pitched hermit from Life of Brian.
Isn't that just the same as Brian's mum as well?
Yeah. I think
Oh no, I know.
Yeah,
I know the one.
Yeah.
You mean. No, it isn't.
It's a slight different thing. It's a different actor, but it is similar vein.
Yeah.
That's just Brian's mum.
It is
Eric, because it's Eric Idle, isn't it?
Njal the Noxious.
I almost prefer this.
Sure, why not? His voice broke while we were away.
Gonna regret this. Oh my god! I was at Bert then. Old Cobb! Where have you been?
Jarl! You've, your throats has changed a little bit. You're feeling alright?
My cough cleared up.
Well, if it ain't my good friend and my other good friends. Well, what a beautiful morning this is. Looks to be that we're all doing very well. Looks like it. Oh, Idris, you're looking 50 years younger.
I spit out a tooth to one side.
And if it ain't my old friend Bert as well. Look at yous as well. You're looking mighty alive.
No thanks to you.
Well, I mean, can't blame me if I might have taken my exit away. He could have killed us all.
He actually did kill one of us.
Right.
You ready to have another soul on your hands, Cobb?
On my hands. My hands.
It's probably worth checking at this point how much of the story have you in your concussed state relayed to
just like grumbling like snatches of like old Cobb and like going back to just muttering.
It is largely a repetition of what I've said to Idris Younger. So like there would have been a little bit of repeating myself. And a bit blurred at times as I try and shake the world's worst migraine / concussion. But otherwise, it was largely there is a fair bit of blame on Cobb. He was not the murderer, but he certainly is the cause.
So you haven't mentioned that old Cobb murdered someone?
Not
Not yet.
not as openly,
Not
not
as
as openly
such.
as I just did now.
Fair.
Well, to be fair, I've not claimed that he's murdered them, just that their deaths are again on his hands. He is the cause, not the murderer.
You haven't mentioned him murdering Lanfafekin.
No.
Just that Lanfafekin's ghost is after you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I've mentioned Lanfafekin's ghost to Idris Younger. That is details I was about to move on to with Njal.
Okay, so Njal stands... I'm not doing the high-pitched voice, I'm just going back to the Alfric voice.
I'd just skip the voices altogether then, to be honest.
You think?
Because the Alfric one takes way too long to get information across. It's too slow and lumbering.
We gave him, I think it was not quite a speech impediment, but like he had random pauses throughout his speech because that's how he speaks in Skyrim, at least as I recall it. It's just really long and slow and halting. So, Njal rushes over to Old Cobb and ushers him in. I think there's something really wrong with your friend. His head's not right. He's wandering in here with unsavory characters and telling stories about blood-chilling murder.
Why, that's a terrible thing to hear. That's nothing like the old Bert that I used to know. He was remarkably, he was a God-touched man. He was a nice one. Do you reckon it might be fatal?
Are you trying to get me committed
You
by the
cannot
church?
get him committed in this day and age.
Do you reckon that it could be permanent? It might be easier to just, let him go off and join the fish.
I think he's probably just had a little bit too much to drink, or more likely looking at his face, someone really has punched his lights out. But I'm not really sure how much of his story is particularly accurate. And he gestures at the pagan-looking fellow. This one is being of literally no help.
I'd
like to stick a finger up towards him.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of both of us interrupting simultaneously. Thankfully, Ben can't speak over them to me, but he can gesture at the same time and basically give my thoughts, interpret dance, I suppose. No, I'd interrupt and say, I'm two steps from death and one step from battle shock. We have been involved in a fight that was caused by your hands, Cobb, as you admitted to be the cause of the death of Lanfafekin to that tax collector's face and resulted in that berserker coming out.
Can I just turn to the priest? Well, you see, he's speaking in tongues. You don't know what he's saying. 8 out of 10 things he's saying, he's just complete wash and nonsense. I've never even heard of a Clanfarfekin. And you...
Never mind the house that you've stolen, that you claim to have inherited from those 3 orphan children over in Mould.
He's just babbling. Look, you little lad with the face. You don't need to listen to this one here. He's just gonna confuse you. He's gonna make your head soft. He's gonna fill your mind with all these little dark thoughts. He's such a negative one, this one. Look at me. I'm a poor old Cobb. Just out here, making my way downtown.
If he makes his way downtown, then he'll stumble across the murder.
Yeah, that's true. You cannot get either of them committed. This place does not have the infrastructure to maintain a sanatorium.
But if we raise the tax...
Hypothetically, you could fund a sanatorium. The concept is not unknown. The industry just isn't there.
There's not the market for it.
Can I roll to convince the priest that Bert is off his head with his concussion?
Okay, but this is probably going to be quite a difficult role, I think. I will take manipulation, subterfuge, difficulty 8.
Okay. Weirdly, Cobb doesn't have any subterfuge.
You got XP. Buy some bloody subterfuge.
I know, because I need it. But I will put a willpower behind this.
You've learned your lesson, I see.
Yes, I have.
Callum's the downfall of this party.
Boom.
Net 2 successes with the willpower. The priest eyes you up and down, and yes, he's not Welsh. Yes, I think. Okay, screw it. The Vikings are now posh people.
By the way, do we regain a willpower between sessions?
No, it's when you get up in the morning, providing you've had a restful night's sleep, which is difficult for you at the moment.
I should be up then because I should be up at least.
We've been unconscious. But not for that. Sleep.
But you got to bear in mind we've had 2 sleeps before that, and I slept soundly through both of them.
Okay. I think you regain it, but I don't think. No, I said it last session, in fact, to you and Callum, because I remember specifically saying to Benji, but not for him because he slept in the street outside where it was loud.
Oh, okay, right. Well, I've got one more willpower then.
No.
I will spend my XP before next session.
Meanwhile, at the end of the campaign, I've got so much.
I will not promise anything.
God damn it, Cat. Niall looks you up and down. Yes, I think you might have a point. You should perhaps get him home. If you start now, you can probably make mold by the end of the day, and I think he needs to sleep in his own bed. He brings you over to Bert, who's starting to clear up a little bit, and starts trying to help Bert up. Come on now, old Cobb will take you back to town.
The Cobb will take me nowhere. I make my own way home.
Yeah, I'd like to step in front of Bert and look very threateningly at old Cobb.
Look at the two of them. You can't listen to Bert. He's off his head. Look, listen to the holy man here. And to me, old Cobb.
This
your
is what
friend.
I mean. I don't know how this doesn't end in PvP.
I
don't want it to, but I don't know how it doesn't. In character.
You can't, little one, you can't just listen to Bert like he's talking any sort of sense. Look at his face.
I mean,
is that the face of a man who's honest?
At the very least, I would suggest that it's probably bad form to punch someone in God's house. Would be the major thing blocking you from PvP here. I don't think old Cobb.
Don't make this mistake again.
Or
it's not my god. It's not my God's house.
Yeah, Idris doesn't care, and I don't think old Cobb cares. But for Bert, I think that's probably a good argument. I need to get to the toilet real quick. I would talk amongst yourselves where you want to go and what you want to do next, because I'm a little bit unclear at this point on what the group wants to do, other than maybe lynch old Cobb.
There's other people to kill after old Cobb.
The exorcism will probably have to go ahead.
Depends if it will be needed after we lynch old Cobb.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing is you are talking yourself into a situation where neither of us in character want to help you at all.
Also, if we kill you, I'm fairly sure that ghost will be like, yo.
Yeah, actually, if you die, that actually completes the quest. I want you to know that.
Yeah, but it's old Cobb though, just old friendly old Cobb.
Friendly old Cobb, yeah, sure.
I would like to say it once again that I did not start that fight. You're not even close.
You goofed the conversation pretty hard. You didn't start a fight, but you did goof the conversation.
I took my beating. What caused them to fucking murder Idris's ass was Idris himself.
No, because he went to tear your head off.
Exactly.
He threw you away, and then Idris did make it worse. You are right.
And the guy came out with a knife. I was not the person standing there insulting his freshly murdered sibling.
No, I took my beating. You escalated.
It's because he was trying to fucking knife us.
No, you did
escalate.
Cause that.
I've in fact just listened to it back, and it's kind of hilarious. Callum escalates the situation. Whitey successfully defuses. Callum then escalates, immediately gets one hit killed.
4 times.
Four
Four
times.
times.
Then the guy's like clearly on the cusp of escalating or not again. You de-escalate him, Benji, for point 1, and for point 2, then immediately re-escalate him again, whereupon he goes nuts. Whitey tries to get his boyfriend in, not realizing that the guy is a berserker, and the berserker immediately snaps into berserk rage mode the second he hears his partner's in danger, and the whole thing escalates from there. But it is actually kind of really lovely. You can hear the two distinct... Not really lovely, sorry, really horrifying. You can hear the two distinct points of the session, like the exact moments where everything goes wrong, and then where everything goes wrong again, too. The re-fuck-uppening. Yeah,
there were a couple of like very obvious fulcrums there.
So... what are we doing now? Where does the party on a meta level want to go with this?
Realistic
Towards exorcism.
Towards burning that house down.
Has Cobb actually had that realization of exorcism? Because while Bert he has no intention of intentionally inviting you into it right now. That an exorcism for at least a portion of the party is definitely the way to go. Meta Callum wants in. Out of meta, I don't think Cobb's realised, and Bert has no intention of inviting him into it.
Cobb is a theological man. Like, Cobb, he's a god. Well,
no, you're not God-fearing. You cannot be God-fearing with what you've done.
He's God knowledgeable, though, at least. Yeah. He knows enough to get around all the loopholes.
The loopholes.
Yeah.
I mean, your soul's condemned to hell, mate. I hope you realise that.
It's fine.
Well, he is Catholic, so if he, if he confesses his sin, he can get 2 penance. But he would have to confess his sin first. But you
confess and repent his sins.
Yeah, confess and repent.
I can certainly imagine, Cobb turning
and he'll need a priest to hear his confession.
I can certainly see Cobb turning to the priest and going, right, well, that didn't work.
Fortunately,
any ideas?
A priest. So, in that case, it sounds like we're on action point Old Cobb, as Old Cobb is currently taking up the priest's time, trying to convince him to not listen to the other two. And if he successfully does that, that will stop Idris and Bert from being able to enlist the aid of the priest, as will presumably decking Old Cobb in the middle of the church. Although apparently you do business here, Idris. So I will take an intelligence occult roll from Idris the Younger, please. Difficulty 4. Oh, you gotta breathe directly into the microphone.
This is the opposite of Tezonde.
Oh. That's some spicy references.
You're welcome.
I like taste on that.
Intelligence plus occult. Right.
It's my favourite role is intelligence occult. That's not how you do that at all.
There we go. 4 successes.
4 successes. So, you work in this town, you are something of a specialist in magics and such, and you would be aware that you potentially have another option, even if Old Cobb fucks this one up for you. Which I don't know if Old Cobb would know. In addition to Niall the Noxious, the town boasts another holy man.
Yeah, give me a second. Sorry.
Oh, I've gone completely off the waiting theme tune there.
So I was going to say that Cobb hasn't engaged his grift much this session, but I feel like swindling a priest to believe that the 2 people in his church are just utterly off their rockers works just as well.
I mean, fair. So, Benji, yes, you potentially do have another option in town. Other than Niall the Noxious, the Catholic priest, there is also Sturla the Cedar, a Viking sorcerer. Or, well, witch, come hedge wizard type of a person. who I don't know necessarily how positively you feel about him, but is a viable potential alternative if you need someone to perform an exorcism.
I mean, presumably I don't feel that bad about him.
I mean,
Different gods and all that.
Arguably might. He's still what's it called? Colonial master who came in here to take lands away from your people. Just because you're both pagans, you're absolutely pagans, one of whom's people has fucked over and fucked up the others.
But he does hold the old ways, so, you know.
Yeah, but the old ways isn't a unified term in that sense. He
No, I know.
has some strange foreign set of gods and beliefs, and probably ridicules yours quite heavily.
Well, either way.
But yes, you do potentially have the option. Cool.
I think we might go to this guy, because I also suspect that the Berserker did take damage. He had a busted up face and all that other stuff, so he'll probably need to see someone to get that healed, which will probably be a holy man. You know what I've got as part of my
No.
as part of my discipline / magic things? I've got drugs and poisons.
Well, see, I don't know if a seeder or a seed man is necessarily much of a healer. They are usually quite good poisoners, though.
Well, I can poison him on my own. I just figured if he was already seeing a healer, it was the perfect time to strike.
I mean, fair.
Grandpappy Idris sends his regards.
Who wants to action what here, then? Because it sounds like we've got three fairly disparate plans. Bert would like to talk to the priest more and see if he can arrange an exorcism, but wants Old Cobb out of the room. Old Cobb clearly isn't leaving the room until... what's it called? He knows Idris and Bert aren't going to rat him out. And it sounds like Idris, the younger, wants to maybe go and see about assassinating that berserker whilst he's in town. So I'm at a bit of an impasse here, GM-wise.
Yeah, this is very different party motivations, or very similar party motivations with the exception of whatever Idris Younger's got going on.
I'd like to say that whatever Bert's plan, Cobb's got the priest's ear.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I think that's the side that Bert is going to have to play. He's going to have to say about how old Cobb has stuff on his conscience. He needs to repent, and it's the only way to put Lanfafekin's ghost to rest, or soul to rest, or whatever. Because the thing is, that benefits Cobb, so Cobb's more play along, even if he gives another half-baked sorry again. And me, that'll at least benefit me, because I'm more likely to actually get exercised, because I will be repenting, even if that won't.
Yeah, I feel like Cobb wouldn't want to go to this other holy man, simply because it might impact his reputation.
I wouldn't want to go to the other holy man because he's not of my religion.
Yeah,
yes,
that too, I suppose.
I suppose the only major benefit for Cobb in the not going to the Catholic priest is you wouldn't have to deal with confession at the other one. So the other one might exercise it whilst keeping your secret.
Yeah, but I don't think he knows that either.
That's probably quite... Oh, you've got 2 dots of theology and a couple of dots of politics. So you might very well be aware that these strange... Sorry?
Cobb probably won't want to go to hell. If he's got 2 dots in theology, like, he probably knows he's well on the way, but he doesn't really want to.
I mean, Cobb is notionally a penitent.
Yeah.
Notionally.
So actually, you get willpower back if you actually...
he has to genuinely repent for that to
Oh, that's the part.
That is the rub.
You're the worst fucking penitent.
He is the worst fucking
penitent. I don't know why I took it. I think I had such a different idea of how old Cobb was going to be.
The thing is, I think I've got the demeanor uppity, and I've just been trying to throw Cobb back under the bus for his actions. Do I not get anything back?
Getting out from under that bus, old Cobb.
You get...
You stay under here with the rest of us.
Willpower comes back for your nature, not your demeanor, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I used to do it as nature and demeanor, but it turns out that was one of your classic situations of me skim reading the quick reference rules once and going, I've basically memorized it, and then running shit.
Yeah. Hand grenades are.
Yeah, it was
punches are hand grenades. Yeah.
fucking grenade.
I feel like mine should be the other way around, judging my nature and demeanor. Anyway, but yes, I guess Cobb will try his best.
So, it sounds like how that plays out then is more or less the priest is convinced by Cobb initially that, yeah, these two are clearly, they're out of their minds. One of them's a silly pagan, he's not talking anyway, and the other one is very obviously concussed, and this is just mostly bullshit. As he approaches, Bert begins leafing into the whole, not the whole story, but intermittent parts of the story and going on and on and on about this ghost and this exorcism and how if Cobb will only repent, then they can save his soul and get the ghost to heaven and everything will be fine, whilst still slowly sobering up. Whereupon old Cobb tweaks that, this is actually potentially an option. So, even as Njal the Noxious is kind of half trying to get Bert up and out of his seat and usher him out of the church, let's check in with old Cobb and see what are your feelings here on potentially confessing at least some of your sins to the priest in order to see if you can secure an exorcism.
Well, I mean, I think old Cobb he wouldn't be completely adverse to it, but I think he would have conditions. So, right, now, look, being honest now, there might be a little bit of truth to some of this. And, I think it would do the world of good. Not just me, but the people I care about. All of us. It would all be good if we can aerate some issues. However, we've got a reputation to uphold. Pillar of this community. And I think we can come to some sort of arrangement. Old Njal, how's about it?
Njal sort of looks bewildered as he's got zero context for what you're saying here. So, some of what he's saying is true and we can come to an arrangement? I don't understand what you mean.
Alright, okay. So, look, if I go a little ways back, there is this ghost. I know.
He blinks. The ghost was true?
Yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't think it, but it's a little bit of a doozy, that one. But, yeah, right, yeah, there's this ghost, you see. Had something to do with me.
I will take Charisma Expression, difficulty 8, to convince Njal that there is a ghost after you.
I would just like to give a low laugh at this.
Failure.
Certainly, as no matter what you may say about Idris Sr. nebulously maybe being involved in the death of Lanfafekin, you most assuredly cannot accuse Idris the Younger of being anywhere near that.
He was not involved in any way.
He was not, so he's off scot-free. I mean, ghosts can absolutely hold grudges, but, I would say Idris Sr. definitely got...
What? Is the minimum willpower to become a ghost 4?
It is, but it's not like you have over 4 willpower, therefore you become a ghost.
I imagine Idris is there, arguing with Lanfafekin. Look, my fucking fault.
So, it usually... you basically... No. At the very least, he'd be an egg right now, if he were becoming a ghost. And if Lanfafekin is following you, that suggests she would probably do horrible things with the egg. Yes, I don't think... You didn't really have any, strong unfinished business of any kind, did you?
No.
Yeah.
He probably just transcended immediately.
Yeah, I think you just die and go on to whatever isn't the afterlife.
The afterlife?
Yes, the afterlife. Sorry, what did you get there, Callum? That was 0 successes. Simple failure. So, Njal the Noxious rolls his eyes and... There is no such thing as ghosts. The Lord takes all souls unto him, or to purgatory, or, in the worst cases, to hell.
Alright, but... Fine. What if we do it just for a laugh? You know, we could practice, you know. I'll play the part of a man who may have something to do with the dead lass. You play the part of a priest, and you are a priest, so it's method acting.
It
sounds
like you need confession, my child.
Right, okay. Maybe this might be a confession purpose.
Come to the stalls with me, and we'll take you through it now.
All right.
Obnoxious lets Bert back down into the pew. Are you going to be okay here?
Wave him off, nod.
Okay. Just to double check, what are Bert and Idris the Younger going to be doing whilst old Cobb's off, potentially confessing?
I mean, I'm going to wait my turn.
It's fair.
I'm going to investigate whether or not this priest has anything I can use to poison that bastard.
You're not going to check my claims. You're just going to go, yep, Granddaddy Idris is dead. Better go get some poisons.
There's a new thing called blood feud.
Yes, but you haven't even corroborated my claim yet.
I will say that it is a matter of relative ease for Idris to, on the way to go see the Seder, verify that, oh yes, that appears to be someone who's been mulched by the Berserker, and he notes...
The smell is unrecognisable. Sorry, the smell is unrecognisable. The smell is so eminently recognisable.
Exactly.
It couldn't be anybody else.
Between the potent mix of viscera and badger urine and his grandfather's distinctive staff off to one side, almost splintered almost unrecognisably, he is able to confirm to the best of his satisfaction that your story is true, at least in the major details, and his grandfather has been murdered.
Fair enough.
The Cedar is relatively happy to see you, Idris the Younger. He doesn't get much in the way of custom or business. People tend to not like dealing with mages or wizards. That's actually another way that you can lose your masculine dignity and honor as a manly man who does manly things, is practicing magic, because it's...
it's Seder, it's the women's magic.
Exactly. So one of the reasons why Odin is a really entertaining god is because he openly practices
the women's work.
Yeah, women's work magic, and he's so terrifying that he kind of gets away with it, which I always think is quite funny and entertainingly metal within the weird gender constructs of his society. What was the guy's name? I've immediately forgotten. Sturla the Cedar. So, Sturla lives in a smoky little hut, and unlike the rest of the small houses and longhouses and such around here, he does live in a genuine tiny hut. It stinks of nebulous assorted smells every square inch that you move through, seeming to have a new and even more pungent odour.
Probably won't be very bothered by that.
Oh no, you're absolutely able to stomach this. He gestures you to come in and sit down. You find him grinding something up with his mortar and pestle. So, we're all on the posh Scandies now, aren't we? So, what can I do for you?
I would like to try and indicate somehow using hand gestures. Giant Nord, then bear to indicate Berserker.
One unsettling thing you have always found about Sturla is he almost seems as though he can read more or less the thoughts in your head. It's never as you're thinking them, you have to actually make the gestures, but he seems to get even really complex notions incredibly quickly.
How helpful. So yes, I would like to indicate that I'm looking for information on the Bear Nord.
God, what did we call him? He was Rickulf the Rangry. Yeah, Rickulf the Rangry. He nods. Yes, the Jarl's pet berserker, Rickulf the Rangry. A deadly man, but not necessarily a cautious one, simply by dint of his trade. I could sell you a poison that could end him in perhaps a minute of pure agony. But I would need some assurances, as well as money, that it's not going to be used in a way that will be traceable back to me.
I'm not sure how I could give him that assurance.
I mean, how are you planning on poisoning the guy?
Well, I was originally going to go full blood feud and just burn his house down, but... Thing is, he'll go to Valhalla if I burn his house down. He will not taste Valhalla.
He needs to die in... I mean, one, you don't believe in Valhalla anyway. I suppose you might...
No,
conceive
I don't...
Sorry?
I don't need to believe in it. He believes. But if I don't think that my gods are true and his gods are equally true, then his gods will grant him Valhalla if he dies in a violent way.
That's only assuming that his gods are equally true. And it's not in a violent way. It's specifically in battle.
All little shit has to do is grasp one little axe while he's asleep. None of that.
Sorry, crush one little axe?
Grasp one little axe while he's asleep.
Oh, I see. The Satyr watches you as you sit there deep in thought, trying to think up some way of offering him the reassurance he seeks. Of course, at the moment, his eyes flick up from under his dark hood. Your grandfather's murderer is not in his house. No, he's currently being kept in the stocks near the Jarl's longhouse. If poison is too expensive and someone were sufficiently quick and stealthy, a sufficient nick to the artery with a sharp blade might equally do the job.
I would like to indicate, Dwight, if the Satyr will know how long he will be held in said stocks.
He shrugs. Depends how swiftly the wheels of justice turn. The Jarl is in town, so I shouldn't think more than at most a couple of days. They need to identify exactly who was killed.
I would ask him what he wants for his help in this.
He holds up a hand. I am no great fan of the Jarl's more violent servants. They have treated me cruelly through the years. If you would pay me for my poison, then I will gladly accept coin. If you wish to take the risk of slicing a suitable artery in his in the stocks in a relatively open area, then, as long as my name is not mentioned, you may do as you will.
Well, I can always pay him for his poison.
Yeah, it's your choice, basically. The poison is...
I think perhaps I do stand out a little bit too much to try the other one.
I mean, you're perfectly at liberty to wear a disguise.
No, certainly. It's just, he's still quite distinctive.
Yeah. So you're going to try and negotiate for the poison?
Indeed.
How many resources you got?
3.
So, if you'd like to... What level of poison do you want here? What type of thing are you hoping for?
I also have base of operations luxury 2 dots, and we established that base of operations luxury 1 dot meant that Granddaddy Idris had a very, very nice treasure in his hideout. Would that mean I have equally nice bits of treasure in mine? Or in my bit of the hideout, which I suppose is now just all mine?
Yeah, I mean, I think what was it? Your grandfather had like a gorgeous Persian pillow, right?
Persian pillow or Persian rug or something like that.
Yeah, you could probably trade him your that portion of your inheritance. I would think that would be more than fair, really.
Well, it's to entirely buy his silence.
Yeah. Sterler agrees to... Oh, look, it's a Kutch on webcam. Sterler agrees to your negotiations and, taking a small, sharp knife, cuts a gentle incision in his hand, offers the same to you. Swear in blood.
I'll take the oath, but I would also like to write some runes in the mixed blood. You know, just because I think his gods might exist doesn't mean they're better than mine.
Yeah, he seems amused at your quaintness, but allows you to proceed. And then the two of you shake and swear your oath of relative murderness. You promise him a portion of your fine inheritance, namely your grandfather's fine Persian pillow and or rug, assorted other minor luxuries, in exchange for which you will acquire his finest, presumably most deadly and also most torturous poison, as well as his ultimate silence, giving you plenty of room with which to enact your revenge. Meanwhile, back at the chapel. Old Cobb, you have just about got into this... God, what the hell do they call them?
Confession booths?
I wanted to say a confession booth, but I can't. It can't be called that.
It's the first confession booth. He's trialling it. He's not sure whether it will catch on, but he's hoping it will.
They actually were invented in, well, not the booths, but confession is originally from Ireland, I think. So it's not far from here. Yeah, fuck it, booth. Why not? So you slid yourself into the confession booth. So maybe it is the first confession booth, because I think confessions used to be public before they were booths.
The first confession that ever was.
Wouldn't be
this is it.
God damn it.
This is an old Cobb's condition. Gonna need a booth.
So, a small panel slides open, and though you can't see the person on the other side, they begin speaking to you. You recognize the familiar voice of Father Njal. What ails you, my child?
Right, well, first things first, this isn't going to go public, is it? You've got a reputation to uphold.
The confessional booth is entirely sacrosanct. Everything and anything you say to me here shall go no further than these four walls.
Right, well, alright then, well that's good. I won't say now about no ghosts. I think we've been through that. There is this, orphan who's been following me around. And, she's been haunting me, you might say, in a somewhat literal sense. I think it all began by the night that she died.
So, there is a ghost?
Well, strictly speaking, if this is confession, then yeah.
You are aware, of course, that confession is a sacred and holy thing. One does not lie in confession, or your soul will be damned for all eternity.
Oh no! I'm not lying here. I'm a man of many things, but lying in confession? No. I've never been known for that.
Njal the Noxious seems to take you at your word, though he did not believe your attempts to convince him there was a ghost in actuality. Outside of the confessional booth, in this sacred liminal space, your promise carries significantly more weight. Carry on.
Right. So, on the night she died, you see, she had two brothers. They also died fighting what we think was a dragon. And you see, in among the bloodshed and the cries and the heroism and the tears and the death, this woman, we'll call her Van Vervaken, for that were her name. She was struck down by a mighty blow from this ear that's called Air Dragon, for that were what we think it were. And lying on the ground there, she had it in her mind that she thought that it were me that caused her to go to her death. You see?
But if the dragon killed her, then why is she haunting you?
Well, you see, the dragon didn't actually kill her. The dragon wounded her to the point that she was lying on the ground. I might have just finished her off, in a sense.
Murder is a grievous sin, my child.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it murder. And that's the truth. I've never called it murder.
The voice from the other side of the confessional becomes sterner. It is not yours to administer death. Whether you call it murder or no, it is still a killing in the eyes of God. Do you repent for this sin?
I do. I do, my lord. My father. I do. I repent. I would love to have another sleepful night in this world. Many more, and many more on top of those. On top of me many blankets.
Roll me conscience.
Oh no.
Difficulty 9.
Rip.
I'm gonna put a willpower in it.
Cowardice.
Oh, I have to. Oh no!
You put a willpower in.
Can't
Botches
botch.
cannot cancel willpower. It's a
Oh,
shame.
okay, well,
that would have
that's
stripped a consciousness off otherwise. Consciousness? Stripped a conscience.
Conscience.
Yeah.
How many have you got of conscience anyway?
He's got 4.
4, actually, yeah, he's doing
But
alright.
do remember that having more conscience does make it easier to justify things to yourself.
Yeah.
Often. You kind of
Yeah.
get to, like, road to hell mindsets.
Best liars start by lying to themselves.
Exactly. That's a good line. Where's that from?
I don't know, common saying.
Fair. Old Cobb, you feel a sense of sorrow well up within you as you finally acknowledge what you did. You killed that young woman. You
Killed that old bitch.
God damn it. For better or for worse, you murdered her, even though you didn't mean to, and even though you didn't think it was that. God does, and you are, if not a God-fearing man, then certainly a God-believing man, and at this point that kind of overwhelms you, which does fulfill your penitent nature, if you would like to regain a willpower.
Excellent. Oh, heaven have mercy on an old man who may or may not be a murderer in the eyes of God.
Is a murderer in the eyes of God. You have
All right.
accepted
Very
it.
much a murderer in the
But
eyes of God.
This is conditional on you having accepted the murder.
Alright, I say it now. I say it in the confines of this booth here, in the eyes of God, and in the blind ears of everyone else.
You don't need
Murderer!
you don't need to admit it outside of the booth. Just
That's
inside of the booth and inside your brain, heart, and soul.
Right, well, excellent then. Hallelujah, I'm a murderer. I'm so glad I can get this out to you from Father. I am a murderer. For I have murdered that young woman, that young orphan, and I have taken her possessions
I actually have no
through
idea
inheritance.
what the Catholic penance for murder is.
How many Hail Marys can you say before your last breath? Do that.
Oh, I could do a lot. I could probably outsource them.
Hold a sec, I'm just going to speedily read a Korah.
Oh, the greatest splat book of all, the Bible.
Okay, so they can basically set you whatever. Yeah, they set you a custom penance. So, my son, you must do right by her remaining family. You must give to them all the possessions that you have taken and make an earnest and heartfelt apology and admission of guilt. Only then can your soul be cleansed.
Yeah, but then he'll die because he'll be killed for being a murderer.
Right. See, that might be a little bit difficult. You see, I already made an attempt earlier this very morning. And you see,
Voluntary lethality.
her family didn't take it too kindly. In fact, her family's family, if you might get my drift, might have dealt it twice-fold on me travelling companion. So, in a way, doth a murder cancel out a murder?
I will take manipulation, subterfuge, difficulty 7.
You notice how Callum just corroborated the entire story that he convinced the priest was not true.
He has, yes.
Confession,
But it is also confession. He's manoeuvred the priest into a situation where he can't really do much about that without it being blasphemy.
Right. Sorry, manipulation, subterfuge.
Manipulation, subterfuge, diff 7.
Okay.
Man could still get the
Why has
information out
Ben
of...
taken my rolls? It still died.
Now, let's be fair here. Why the fuck haven't you bought subterfuge? It's session 4 and you've got
don't
0
know.
dots.
I don't
How much
know.
XP do we actually have at this point?
21.
Jesus,
Because I've got it too.
I'm getting so much subterfuge before next session, you have no idea if I survive.
You know what the worst bit is here? You almost talked yourself into a get out of penance free card.
I know, I should have used my willpower by games. I found a loop!
You've basically gotten away with strongly implying that you already admitted it and thus everything was fine. You'd done the difficult part of the penance, give the shit back and you're okay. But unfortunately, Niall is a little bit quicker on the mark. You know what? Shall we just, for the sake of things, Bert, I will take... You are a bit concussed still, I suppose. But no, fuck it, that's pretty cleared up at this point. I will take perception... awareness. If you difficulty 7, if you'd like to overhear this conversation, Bert.
I could have really gotten into this, penance, manipulation, willpower loop.
I'm using a willpower for this.
No, please don't.
That is 4 successes.
I'm really hearing this conversation.
You, immediately after they entered the booth, quietly moved to the pew nearest to it and had just sat there listening to the whole thing. You can consider yourself to have heard every single word said so far and to continue to hear every single word. And they both think you're still sat off where you were.
Is that not 5 successes because I got willpower and then I got 10? Or is that...
The 10 only counts if you have a specialty.
Okay, right, fair enough. I definitely do not.
Yeah, you don't.
Do you have a speciality in eavesdropping?
You can get speciality in eavesdropping, but he doesn't have enough dots for it. Cool. Yes, Father Njal inside the booth clucks his tongue at you. I note the slight error in your speech. You must go back, and you must make a full apology to them. Then you must return all the property you have taken. Only with their forgiveness can you be cleansed of your sin.
Father, I don't think you understand. His living partner is a big man. And a murderer. And he has literally 1 hour ago beaten my companion to death. His grandson is out the door. You know not what you hath unleashed.
You must turn the other cheek.
I think he'll turn my other cheek. Inside out, upside my head.
I feel like my confession is going to go a bit easier than this.
In fact, he's already punched me near enough what I might have said to have killed 4 lesser men to death earlier today. Might I add.
Has been a morning, hasn't it?
This face is at least 5% less beaming than it was this morning. Going for the dreamies.
The door begins to slide shut. My word is final. You would have to intercede with a higher authority than me to overturn this penance. And he slides the little door shut.
Fuck, where am I going to get an archbishop around here?
I think you could make do with a bishop, honestly, but it's basically the same question.
Yeah.
Okay, we've probably got just enough time to get Bert's confession in as well.
Cool. I just want to say, Callum, right now you're saying to Kutch, no, keep away, you're not allowed the dreamies, but soon it will be Farquaad, no, you're not allowed to eat the dreamies.
I'm not. Farquaad's not allowed to what? Sorry.
You're not allowed to eat the dreamies.
I'm looking forward to little Farquaad Lewis eating the dreamies.
Oh no.
So
Survive on a diet of dreamies. It'll be cheap at least.
Yeah, true. When you said the names that you were not going to use, I immediately relayed them to Alice. That was it Gale and Farquaad?
Gale and Farquaad.
Basically the same name.
Yeah, right.
Sterling. Anywho, all right. Well, I guess old Cobb will kind of puff up his brand new tunic.
Shuffle.
All right. Well, that were a load of old shit.
You emerge from the booth to find Bert staring at you, his concussion mostly cleared up.
If only you knew someone who was planning on killing the large lord, so that you could, so that whilst they're both dying, you could make your confession to them.
If only. Right. What do you want?
Nothing from you. Gonna get my confession, and then I'm gonna go home.
Right, well, I wouldn't confess to that one there. He's useless. Can't even get a good, penance charge. He's looking to take all my stuff. What kind of God-fearing man is that?
Inside the booth.
Got none of the capitalist mind.
Inside the booth. All around me are familiar faces.
Maybe, old Cobb, you should consider that what goes around comes around. That God's plan is both equally fair and just.
No, you don't tell me about no God's plan. God's plan didn't account for a 400-pound giant of a man who could kill a man in between 1 and 4 punches.
Well, actually, it probably did, because it happened, and the plan is predefined, and it happened. So, yeah, it probably did account for that, and it was probably part of your just desserts. I can't explain why he killed Idris, but other than the fact he kind of goaded him. But he has lived a long life, and I'm sure he had his sins to account for it.
And with that snappy one-liner, multi-liner, Bert slams the confessional booth door shut. The little hatch slides open, and the familiar voice from the other side says, "What ails you, my son?"
Forgive me, Father, if I have sinned. I have guilt upon my conscience for an action that I did not commit, and that was I was a party to the murder of a young lass who potentially could have been saved. At the time, I reconciled it as a mercy killing, but her ghost has taken to haunting me, and I believe that is because I have a guilty conscience, for I should have said something. I have seen less honourable men die with more honour than what I bore witness to. I wish to repent my sins and to apologise to that poor spirit.
Murder is a grievous crime, my child. And yes, the absence of preventing it, though not laudable, does not constitute itself a breaking of the first commandment.
Sell out.
So what's the penance that would be appropriate to assign someone who is guilty of not stopping someone else's critical sin?
He knows that the
2
person
hours of
murdered is an
community
orphan,
service.
so clearly it should be, as life was taken and you did nothing, life should be saved, because you do something. You must take in all the orphans of Mold and give them a better life.
I think he's got the only orphan in Mold.
Well,
Yeah.
if there are any others that pop along,
I suppose that's fair.
it's what is this, like the 8th century? There's gonna be a few.
10th.
From
Yeah,
now
old
on,
Cobb's counting on it.
you own an orphanage and pigsty.
You know what?
Same
To
thing.
be fair, I've got nothing, and it's not the worst. Not the worst suggestion. So yeah, fuck it. We're going with Benji's submission.
In me, the Catholic Church lost such a good priest.
It's a fucking
You were pagan.
terrifying alternate reality where Benji's a priest.
Please, I'd be Pope within 10 years.
I don't know why, but I when I picture you as a priest, I picture you as just ridiculously, ludicrously ripped.
You can be Pope and be ripped.
You can be Pope and be ripped. It's not like you're not allowed to be muscly and be priest. I don't think you'd ever manage to make it to Pope. I'd have some choice words to say on the internet if you did. That'd be hilarious. But oh, anyway, yes, back in character. You can never truly make up for this, but you can make some amends to the community from whom you've taken such a promising young member. Whenever there is someone in need of help, another young orphan child in your town, take them in. When you have raised 3 to adulthood, kept them safe through the long years of their childhood, your sin will be absolved.
Aye, it is just, Father. Thank you.
He slides the little hatch shut. Outside, let's double check. Old Cobb, perception, alertness, I think he says, difficulty 6. You're less concussed, so you've got an easier check to over here.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, cat's in the way.
I mean, cat pose for the cat. Cat pose. Cat apologised for the cat in the way. It's a good cat.
Yeah, she's just hankering after biscuits. Why? Why am I rolled so shit?
1 success net. That's a lot of botches. Yeah, you're only getting like broad strokes, but you're 90% certain he just got instructed to look after all the cats in the village, and that's his penance. Which seems a bit of a far cry from yours. The door slides open, and Bert emerges from inside. Niall follows shortly afterwards, looks at the two of you, a look of sadness in his eyes. I'll be back shortly. In the meanwhile, the two of you may use the chapel as you see fit. Ta-ra for now. He heads off out the back door. What do?
I mean, kind of the end of the quest line for Cobb and me, I suppose. The question is whether or not we go to find Idris. I suppose Idris isn't orphaned. Elder's orphaned.
I don't know if it's the... I mean, the implication was child orphans, to be fair. But
I
if
realise.
if it's the end of the quest line for Old Cobb. I
know, he's still got to get fucking murdered.
I mean, even
so
for you only got the priest's assurance that the ghost is going to leave you alone, and it would theoretically only be after you raised 3 children to adulthood. Silverfield John's not that old, is he? He's a teenager, actually. I think they had him.
He's like somewhere between 10 and 12.
Oh, yeah, so yeah, it's like bare minimum 8 years at this point, unless you were to acquire multiple orphans in their late teens.
I don't know, at the age of 16, he'd be working full time.
I suppose that's
in this day and age. So he's got like 4 to 6 years, but I'm kind of uncertain. But he already works every day anyway. So.
The ghost may well have killed you by that point.
Well, it depends on if it's a case of it will come back if I don't continue doing my penitence. If I continue doing the thing, then it's appeased in the meantime.
I guess it depends how much the ghost respects the penance you've been given.
Well,
you would have a reason to think that it would, but it might not. Is the thing.
Well, we'll see then. I guess I'm not going to go against what the priest says because I trust the priest.
So, should we, for the last 8 minutes, let's check in and see where Idris the Younger's at. What's your game plan, Idris the Younger? You have acquired 1 incredibly potent and painful poison.
Do I know how long this is going to last if I use it on food?
I mean, I think he paid for top notch, so it as long as the food doesn't moulder, then it should last.
I mean, I would have thought it would last even if the food moulders. Just he might not eat it if it's mouldy.
I suppose that's true.
Well, I know he's in the stocks at the moment, but he'll probably be let out of the stocks at some point soon. So, this probably means I'll have to go scout the house. But I would like to use. I've only got survival to give myself a disguise. Sadly, I don't have subterfuge.
I think it's very firmly subterfuge, I'm afraid.
What's this? Endless ghost quests. Let's continually murder things.
We have room for infinite content.
Curse you, procedural generation.
Aha! You thought it was Ewan, but it was I, Todd Howard. It just works.
Oh dear.
Cool. So if you want to scout the house, I will take Dex Stealth Diff 7. And you can just be stealthy. I don't know if you necessarily need a disguise. It would just help.
I'm going to spend a willpower. Well, thank God I did.
Yeah, good move. You're a little bit brazen coming in through a side door. Don't know if we have a side door. You're a little bit brazen coming in through the front entrance and are almost spotted by Riddick, injured, bruised, and laid up in his bed. Clearly the worse for wear, but he, fortunately enough for you, passes back into fitful slumber seconds after you duck, or almost a second after you duck into the hut. You do have a bit of a window of opportunity, but whatever you do, you're probably going to have to do a roll for it, because he's clearly sleeping quite lightly and might wake up again at a moment's notice. What do?
So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to poison some of the food in the house, and equally try and steal, like, an overcloak or something like that, and a bowl.
Why?
Because I'm going to take the bowl, and I'm going to, in an act that seems to be mimicking Christian mercy, deliver a lovely drink of water to that poor man in the stocks.
Fair. Why are you taking the bowl from in here, I guess, is my query.
That's just because I'm in here now, I might as well.
Alright, fair.
I mean, otherwise I'm just going to go into other places and get other bowls.
I mean, that's true, but you do have resources. But, your character. Cool, so for poisoning the food, that's probably going to be the more difficult one, I will take... I think that's going to be Stealth Dex Diff 8. Please.
I will spend another willpower, please.
Sure.
As it turned out, I didn't need to. But still.
4 successes. Unless your specialty applies here, which is... No,
I don't have one, I only have...
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was looking at survival. Yeah, net of 4 successes. You find a knob of cheese. Quite well-worn cheese. There are fresh tooth marks in it. And you note, on top of it, several places, long ginger hairs. Doesn't take a genius to work out that this is one of Rickulf's favourite foods. You give it a gentle but thorough basting with the expensive poison. Your dose is used up, but you're positive that with this, you'll get your man. Wait, were you going to poison him in the stocks as well?
Yeah, I was going to use half of the stuff on the stuff here, so I could get the tax collector as well. That way, if he survives the poison I give him in the stocks somehow, he comes home and finds his paramour dead.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, so you use half your poison. And then for stealing an overcloak and a bowl, I will take... Same situation, Stealth Dex, Diff 6.
I will spend another willpower point. Yes, I'm spending them like mad.
No, I mean, that's fair.
I really should have done.
You use them when you need to succeed at a roll.
And thank God I did.
That is a net of 3 successes. Oof. Oh dear. Poor Ritter. You take a great overcloak and a simple wooden bowl and steal out of the house quiet as a mouse. It's not at all difficult for you to make your way to the stocks. And thence, though he is exhausted from his post-berserker rage and subsequent yelling and potentially even mild beating, Rickulf is just about cogent enough to take water being offered to his lips without even opening his eyes to see who's offering it to him. Did you have any last words you wanted to administer before hightailing it out of there?
I don't speak, I'm a mute.
That's very true, I completely forgot.
In which case, though, is he not going to open his eyes at all?
No, he's not doing it at all.
Ah, that's a shame. I was just going to look him directly in the eyes, because the way I had it was that grandson Idris looks a lot like granddaddy Idris. So it's just going to look directly into a set of eyes he thought he'd killed earlier that day.
I mean, if nothing else, there's quite a few decades between the two of you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you had hoped for it, but you'll have to settle for his painful death. The first of the screams emits before you even manage to steal too far away from the square. Okay, and I think that's probably just about a good spot to leave it. That is a record speed run on avenging a death. Especially your own death. Sorry, Whitey?
I was going to say, yeah, that was pretty fast.
Oh, you knew a guy who had poison. He was in the stocks.
I mean,
It wasn't like he could run away.
Awfully rotten luck to have murderous kin in town. But, blood feuds.
I love how Ben's new character delivers babies and murders. There's 2 currently defining person. Oh, and he's mute.
What a fucking business card right there. Delivers babies and murder.
I brought you into this world, and I'll take you out of it.
Damn, I'll take you out of it.
God damn it. Cool. Reminders for next session.
Old Cobb needs to give away all his worldly possessions and make a genuine apology.
Well, so he thinks, yeah.
Or so the priest tells him.
But if he just waits a few days, then he's going to be in an interesting, if awkward, spot.
There is that too.
Bert needs to get home and check up on Simple John.
Sorry, Old Cobb needs to give all his possessions and make an apology to... sorry, what was that from you, Whitey?
Bert needs to get home to check on Simple John.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope.
Fair. Sounds like, not many reminders for next session. But, I'm going to add Ghost Still Chasing, question mark?
Well, we'll see at nightfall, won't we?
Yeah. Feedback. Anything you liked, anything you disliked, anything you'd like to see more of or less of next time.
Less stamina 5.
Yeah, he's like the only stamina 5 on the entire fucking island. You could punch any random Viking and they would inherently be less killy than that one guy.
Punch a tree and it'd take more damage than stamina 5.
Could. I have monsters set up on this island that were less killy than that guy.
I like the penance. That was good. I feel like every time I choose not to use a willpower because I think, I can do this. It's just, it fucks me over.
My general advice for using willpower is, honestly, basically exactly what Benji did. If you cannot afford the thing that you're doing going wrong, spend the willpower.
Very
Otherwise,
true. Yeah.
hoard it. It's usually that is a good metric.
It was like immediately after it happened, I realized I could really game this with my penance, willpower, manipulation, penance, willpower, manipulation.
You only get willpower back for like major instances of a thing, and usually only one per major instance of a thing. So you can't just repeatedly be penitent for the same thing over and over again and get the willpower back every time to stop that exact thing.
Yeah.
But you did almost get away with literal murder with like a slap on the wrist.
I know. Damn. Yeah, but would the ghost agree?
No, probably not. But at this
So
point,
there
you're
you
kind
go.
of hoping that, it seems. You've diverted away from the exorcism front. But then I suppose the priest, likely, if you'd have brought up exorcism, quite possibly would have come back with a, no, it's fine, do penance, and obviously the ghost will go away.
Oh, that's what ended up happening anyway.
We think.
Because he said,
Flashlight.
the priest said, the ghosts don't exist, so why would I do an exorcism?
It's true.
That is literally what he said. So,
Any other feedback? No, fair. I thought we got a surprising amount done this session as well. I don't hold Benji's rage against him either, for the record. I fully understand that, why is this character so punchy? Annoyance. But
well, the other thing is, like, me and Ben Ben did pay the price, but I also almost ended up paying the price for Callum's fuck up.
You can pay the price for Callum's fuck up. It's the fact that he's punchy. Yeah, I get that he's punchy, but stamina 5 is so ungodly tanky. I'm not joking when I say there are vampires with significantly lower soak than that.
yeah, I've played vampires with significantly lower soak than that. I am so ridiculously...
You've played elder vampires with significantly lower soak than that.
And he had extra levels of bruised health as well. Like, if he didn't have those, you were one away from beating him. But,
Like, he was about as tanky as a low-level guru is.
no, they have so, like, especially once they're pissed off, they're a lot tankier.
A low-level
Okay,
one.
this
Well,
cat needs
I wasn't
to-
trying to kill him, is the thing. So he did have those extra levels of, I'm not trying to do lethal damage. If I was trying to do lethal damage to him, I probably would have killed him a lot sooner.
I don't think you had a weapon to do lethal damage, did you?
No, I know, but if I had my axe on me, I probably would have killed him a lot sooner than I actually did.
Yeah, but in the great axe fight versus fist fight debate, axe does usually tend to come out on top. But yes.
We've finally had our first death. Well, so first player death.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lan for Feckin and her brothers say hello. Oh dear.
The
Cool.
death count is still quite low.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to. I was going to kill both of you. It was only because there was like a round to go. Not even a round to go. It was half a round to go. You were on 6 out of 7 half rounds.
And I'm back.
So it wasn't me fudging it to keep you alive. It was me trying to give you a fair shot. Because actually, even though he didn't manage to get himself keep himself alive, Idris the Elder actually did buy you enough time to wake up, which is ludicrously impressive. Yes, anywho. Questions? Anything anyone was narratively unsure of in that session? Is everyone following the plot?
Following the plot, narratively unsure as to whether or not we've achieved the goal, or what percentage of us achieved the goal. Idris obviously has achieved the goal. He has died.
Yes, the B route.
Yes, Callum may have achieved the goal, assuming he follows through with his promise to the priest. Though it will also make him homeless and destitute.
More than likely dead.
Yeah, also quite likely dead. And also whether or not I've achieved the quest point, even though the priest has said that I had nothing to worry about, but the ghost obviously thought otherwise. I've been given a method to atone that is very much long term, and whether or not that is basically taking in orphans because I misjudged a mercy killing.
You took
like,
a life, so you need to give back lives, basically.
I watched an orphan die, so I should make sure some orphans live, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's fair penance, actually. But it's whether or not that Lanfafekin thinks the same thing as well.
Yeah. but it'll be fine. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll find out soon
potentially.
enough,
Yeah, it's going to be a great first night of oh no and/or oh yay. Cool.
Apart from for grandson Idris, who's
Yeah,
baffled
Idris the
by this
Younger.
strain.
Who's going to go home, not be haunted, and mourn his lost grandfather, and maybe have to talk to his estranged father, let him know what's up.
Sign out.
That's true. Attempt. So, that means it's... Yes, let's do some exploit. Cool. Oh, no, those are highlights. What the fuck am I doing?
How does healing work in this game, by the way?
Healing.
Oh.
For mortals, it's really slow, as I recall. Actually, you
Yeah.
have to do like long periods of bed rest, but it's not that bad if it's only bashing. If you've taken lethal, that takes longer. But you
Yeah,
can
it's only
do
bashing I've taken, so.
cool. Then I think you might need like a week of bed rest to get it all gone.
That's fair.
Um,
Do I untick incapacitated at this point as well? Because I'm not
yeah,
incapacitated.
untick incapacitated. I actually don't know that. I'm just kind of making shit up at this point, but it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Plot progress. Do you feel like you made any plot progress this session? And if so, what?
Yeah,
That's
I mean, being old Cobb and Bert are at least under the impression that they've achieved their goal or are close to achieving their goal. And Ben has, like, de facto dying.
The ghost isn't bothering me anymore.
It's true. And I mean, yeah, I would say it's probably plot progress for Idris the Younger that he got the murder done. That was basically his established plot.
Yeah.
Cool. Character development. Does anyone feel like they developed their characters this session? And if so, how?
I started to play an entirely different character.
I think Idris the Younger definitely developed as something of a distinct character this session. Cat, don't drink that. That's gin, mate. You'll get all kinds of fucked up.
I don't know, but a bit is staying the course, I think. I mean, roleplayed the scene in the confessional booth, and he kind of knew when the fight was lost with Idris. He was no condition to continue fighting. But I don't necessarily think he's developed. I think he's kind of at a comfortable point, and he's, as I said, staying the course in terms of how he plays.
That's fair.
Like, he's well-rounded is the thing, so he doesn't necessarily need to develop much more right now.
So it sounds really like then Idris was probably our major character development this session. How do you feel like Idris developed, Benji?
I mean, he avenged his grandfather's murder, so that was something.
Yeah, but as a character, how has he developed?
Well, we know he's got mutism.
He had that from Jen.
He's developed in the ways of being a blank character that hadn't had any development into having had some development because he's a character.
I mean, yeah, but what was that development? So my general impression of the character so far is that he seems quite cold and pragmatic, but also a lot calmer than his grandfather was. His grandfather seemed more prone to sort of jumping up and down, rage and batshittery, whereas Idris the Younger seems more like, oh, okay, set up a plan, follow through on the plan, result, recede into the shadows.
A lot of people have wronged me. Everybody dies.
He's a mute Liam Neeson.
I was going to write Cold Spectre of Vengeance, but sure, we can do mute Liam Neeson.
Yeah, it's basically he's a lot more level-headed and sensible than his now deceased grandfather.
No, he's not level-headed. He is calm and calculating. He's not level-headed. He just his first reaction to your grandfather is dead is, I'm going to poison that fucker in the stocks right here in the middle of town.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not sure I call that level-headed.
I mean,
Yeah, that's not level-headed. It's not
Just 'cause it's-
rational.
just because it's cultural for him doesn't mean it's not level-headed.
Yeah, I would say because he was calm, sensible, and practical.
He comes from a culture of blood feuds.
Yeah,
Like,
I would actually agree with Benji here. I feel like that was level-headed. It was level-headed from a really specific point of view, but it was level-headed. Like, his grandfather was murdered, so he calmly sits down and goes, okay, well, obviously we need to counter murder. What is the simplest and most effective way that we can get that done now whilst I'm in town? Cool. Excellence of roleplay. Does anyone feel like anyone else roleplayed particularly well this session?
Cobb and his infinite efforts to twist and lie his way out.
I was thinking throughout that entire confession was, how do I not confess to murder while staying truthful? But in the end, had to.
I was kind of expecting you to burst out of the confessional booth, not going to lie. Like, I thought you weren't going to go through with
on fire.
I was fully expecting this to go down the route of, and then old Cobb goes to see the other wizard and just buy an exorcism.
I mean, there's still a chance yet. I feel like it's very difficult for old Cobb to just go and straight up give everything away.
It's kind of counter to his nature, to be fair.
He's worked hard for that. He's grifted hard for that.
Plus, he'd have to give the apology.
Yeah, that too.
Anything else?
Nah, it's second the Cobb one.
Cool, so just Cobb this week. Fair. Okay, so I make that out to be 6 experience points for session number 9. That's 2 points of plot progression for Old Cobb and Bert got penance to get the ghosty off their backs, and Idris the Younger avenged his grandfather. 2 points of character development. Idris the Younger is the mute Liam Neeson / more level-headed than his grandfather. Arguably, that should have been 1, I suppose. It's only really one person's character development. Oh. 1 point excellence of roleplay, that's Cobb being a lying, cheating, twisting bastard, and 1 point standard.
I count those up to be up to 27.
So, how many points is that total? Sorry,
6 this week. For the love of gods, Callum, buy some fucking subterfuge.
I know.
No, because I kind of love the fact that he's got none. It's just the best.
Yeah, I quite like
Well, you can love it until next session when I buy all of it.
It is. I do have a fondness for characters who are really good at everything around one core thing, but then really shit at that one core thing. Like, the one that always occurs to me is Creed playing Tumble, who was one of the punchiest characters we've ever had, and he had nothing in athletics, so he could punch buildings down, but he couldn't really run under any circumstances, or he'd just immediately get a stitch, which I always found fucking hilarious.
Old Cobb has got no athletics either.
Yeah, no, it's been seen a few times this session.
we did notice.
Cool.
The thing is, I delivered the news really badly, but also my etiquette is awful.
I do appreciate people role-playing their stat lines as well. That's been fun. Because you're supposed to, but it's one of the more difficult things to do, so I think people tend to skip it.
The one I find really difficult to roleplay stat lines of is intellect, because you just trying to roleplay a dumb character means that there's often plot hooks you notice, but then you don't want to metagame and be like, I noticed this, when the rest of the party doesn't notice it. It's like, but I'm supposed to be dumb.
I would do have you ever seen... This is one of my favourite instances of really dumb storytelling, or a dumb character in storytelling, but actually pretty good storytelling. The ending to Dawn of War II is a plot twist, right? Where big bad evil guy...
Ending.
The bit with big bad evil guy on one of the planets. I'm trying not to spoil for some indistinct reason. What?
When did Dawn of War 2 come out?
Yeah, that's fair.
God,
Okay.
like 10 years ago.
whatever, it's not salient particularly. So there's this big bad evil guy on one of the planets, and it's supposed to be a plot twist that, oh, he's on this planet all along, and half the campaign builds up to figuring out which planet he's on, right? No matter which faction you play as. The only problem is the Orc faction aren't following the plot the whole time, basically. They're just wandering around punching people, so they have no real way to figure out where this guy is, or why. So when it comes to the final cutscene, they figure it out not by having, actually followed a complex length of clues, but they look at the map and go, oh, well, if you do some simple basic logical deduction, which as a fairly dumb character, but just, I only have these reasonable facts to work with, which planet is he most likely to be on? It's this one that no one would think to look at him on. So we'll just go there and see if he's there, and shock horror, this thing that everyone else has trouble figuring out was the correct answer, because you're basically immune to not being able to see the forest for the trees. So you can play a dumb character as seeing things that intelligent characters wouldn't quite well.
Well, to be fair as well, if it's an orc, you probably just go, well, we've smashed everywhere but here, and they're not there.
No, it's. I will link you afterwards. It's quite a cool cutscene because it's the one orc commander trying to explain this really simple leap of logic to all of his sub-commanders who just have no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and they haven't smashed literally everywhere else. But it's fucking hilarious. Also, he's a pirate for reasons.
Of course, he's a pirate. He's an orc. The best.
Yeah, but he's
best
an actual freebooter pirate. Anywho, point being.
Yes.
It's a fair challenge, but I would say stick with it and think through things laterally, I guess, and dumb characters can still figure out plot points, even whilst being dumb. It's also kind of fair to speak out of character and go, hey, I think this is the thing, we should look into this. I will always encourage that, because the grand... I've ever told you the story of the time Dark Heresy people were given a mystery to solve, and then the two characters who were paying attention in the mission briefing were outside sorting something in the car, and the rest of the team didn't really know why they were there, so they destroyed the site they were supposed to investigate because they're murder hobos at the time, and then completely knackered the entire rest of their campaign. And the two characters who could have stopped them didn't, because in character they weren't there, even though out of character the players knew that it was going to frustrate them to let the campaign be knackered, which... Yeah.
That does sound like Dark Heresy.
Yeah, this was early salty Dark Heresy before it got down to being actually kind of good. So yeah, I would always say feel free to say something out of character if you think you know, even if you then couldn't say it in character, if that makes sense. Anywho, that was a long winding ramble. It's time for everyone's favourite part of the session. It's the highlights. Whitey, do you have any highlights for that session?
Old Cobb wandering off into the sea.
Old Cobb's trip to the seaside. Any other highlights?
Old Cobb says I'm a liar, then corroborates my entire story.
That man's a liar. Well, actually, everything he said.
Everything he says is a lie, except for everything.
Absolutely everything that man says is true.
That was a long one. Any other highlights, Whitey?
No, I think that's it for me this time round.
Fair. Callum, do you have any highlights for that session?
I didn't hear no bell.
I'm putting that in quotes. Oh, it was a quote, actually.
Yep.
Any other highlights?
There's not a whole lot that actually comes to mind. I think there's the revolving confession door. It was nice. Pretty sure you get negative God points for listening in on a confession, by the way.
Pretty sure you get God points for killing people.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a given, but...
You're definitely not supposed to listen in. So it wasn't really a very good Christian thing of Bert to do, but I think he also had the very justifiable fear that you were going to go in there and lie your ass off to the priest. And then
Yeah, I suppose that's also true.
swag about with a like, aha, God says I'm okay sign stapled to your face. Or medieval equivalent of stapled.
Oh, what could have been? What could have been?
The worst penitent. Okay, any other highlights?
I'm going to cheat and go for one of mine. He can kill a man in 1 to 4 punches.
I mean, you can always put your own down. It's not cheating.
That's
Any other highlights?
I'm gonna keep it short this time.
Okie dokie. Benji, any highlights for that session?
We're all coming up stumped.
yeah. The priest really doesn't want to believe in ghosts. But I'm trying to think how to phrase it.
I mean, I can put the priest really doesn't want to believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
The easiest thing in the world to disprove is the thing. Oh dear. Any other highlights?
Something of.
It's going to be a short list.
I don't have that many from this session.
I've got a couple. So shortest blood feud ever, and also we have to give it up for Idris the Elder, beetle-man.
Worst freaking berserk warrior ever. Takes that long to kill a spindly old man with a stick.
I am so incredibly surprised you lasted as long as you did and got as close as you did to killing him. I was knocking him out. I was genuinely thinking you were going to manage it, honestly.
I was so close.
A couple of rolls, it was really very much all in it. If you got a couple more good rolls, then you probably would have had him, which I was not expecting. I thought you'd run away as well. At many points, and you didn't.
Couldn't run away. If I ran away, he killed Bert.
It's true.
And I have 4 courage.
Well, actually, he might not have. Actually, he might have just rushed straight after you. I suppose depends on the nature of you running away. I think at the point I offered you, then yeah, you would have killed Bert there. But conceivably, you could have tried to run away and lure him after you.
He just insulted him a lot to seem to get his narc on. Was that his friend?
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't. Oh no, it was his boyfriend who you got. But then he was in an emotionally vulnerable state at the time. I suppose they both were really. Anywho, any other highlights? Oh no, it was me, wasn't it? And we've done the highlights.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, thank you all for a very entertaining session number 9. Which is going to sound weird when the episode is less than 9. The episode was 4, I think.
Yep.
Any final words for the recording?
I didn't hear no bell.